Okay, now let's see the questions. I have created a method at the rate is test, another method without at the rate is test. Is it possible to create instance inside at the rate is test method? You wanted to create instance of what? Instance of a class, of some other class, or for a test class? Another class, yes, you can create instance. There is no restrictions. See, if you see here, it is more like an instance. User is a class, and what do we do? We just create an instance. Same applies for another class as well. If you have if else statement, how to ensure coverage? Obviously you have to create data such that it is meeting the if condition. If you remember our very first scenario, what have we taken? When we have taken it as set rating as hot, when billing city is dollars, and for New York and for California, you have to insert record with billing city as dollars, you have to insert record with billing city as California, you have to insert record with billing as New York. Only then you will get the coverage. You cannot really modify it. You have to create data such that it is meeting your scenarios. How to write test class for an Apex class which is created by some other developer in the company. Like we have to go through already written code and made some modification. You have to first understand what is this Apex class doing, then prepare your scenarios. You have to think like a tester. Think like a tester, what is this Apex class doing, then prepare your scenarios, and for each scenario create a method. That is the only way. Test class, do not think the test class is only for coverage. Think that test class is more like a way to test your Apex class such that it will not really break for any scenario. Heard system.run as is another way. Yes, system.run as is another way. But let me tell you, system.run as is available only inside test classes, not in the main class. You can use system.run as because you wanted to test something as another user. You can use system.run as. But to avoid mixed DML operation, system.run as works only inside test class. But inside main class, it will not work. But inside main class, you have to use asynchronous Apex to avoid the error. Vijit Raja, I did not get your question. Maybe you can explain it. And to cover batch class coverage, we have to cover execute method only, or how final method cover. See, what is the scenario? Your scenario is that your batch class should really do something. How are you executing your batch class? By using database.execute. So you will put the same database.execute in your test class. That's it. You will not really bother about, do I have to call start method explicitly, execute method explicitly, or finish method explicitly? No, you will not do that. You will just call database.execute because that is how it is being done in production. How are they calling the batch class? By using database.execute statement only. So you will be doing the same database.execute, and that should cover start, execute, and finish. What is the difference between system.test.start and test. It's the same. It's the same. When you say system.test.start test or just a test.start test, it is still the same. Earlier, like few years back, they removed the usage of making use of system class for most of the things. Salesforce test automation.
Yeah, sorry, that is what I'm looking. Anything related to this topic today we discussed? I mean,
Nothing. No. See,
okay.
this is purely for developers. When you say automation, you're speaking about something from tester's point of view, correct? Like Capybara or Cucumber.
Yeah. There are some tools will be available, no, for
No.
automation.
That has nothing to do with the code coverage or the test classes. That is entirely different.
Okay, thank you.
Because that is basically based on the Chrome browser, not based on the Apex coding. Okay, what is the difference between stateful and stateless? See, this is one thing which I want you to understand. I gave stateful. Okay, I will tell you in a single line. Okay, I want you to understand it, and maybe we can again connect for the future sessions if there are any to elaborate it. But let me tell you what stateful and what stateless is. I told you that each and every transaction, whenever execute comes, it is handled as a separate transaction. Whenever execute method is performed, it is handled as a separate transaction. Now, if you feel that the value that I have created somewhere, okay, if you feel that I have a variable and the variable value should be retained, I have created one variable and the variable value should be retained means, then you can say database.stateful. You will understand it only when you really read the concept of stateful. Only then you will be able to understand. But when you say database.stateful, the variables and their values will be retained. But when you do not use stateful, the values will be resetted for every invocation of execute method. If I need to find source code like a message order not found in Oracle, it is select star from so where text like order not found. How do I do that in Salesforce? Okay, order not found. Where is it present? Is it present in some Apex class or is it present in some field of a record? You said order not found, a message order not found. Is that Is message a field and order not found the value present in that message for a corresponding record? Anything Apex page LWC trigger. You have to make use of a third party tool like Visual Studio or IDE or Eclipse in order to see this. But one way what you can do is in developer console, you can see something called as search in files, and you can type for something and that can show you the references. You don't have to query for it. Can we use batch class to insert bulk record? If yes, what we have to query in the start method? See, when you have bulk records created, what you can do is use iterable. Do not use start the query locator. Use iterable. Create all your records, but do not do the DML statement. So just send the list to the batch class by using iterable. In the execute method, insertion can happen. Is there any other platform for practicing the Apex code other than Trailhead, just like HackerWorld is for Java? Unfortunately, there is not. On Trailhead is not a platform for you to practice. You're practicing in your own dev org. Trailhead is just showing you the scenarios so that you can be aligned on it. But no, unfortunately, there is no such thing. Contact.account.parent.owner.first name from contact limit 5. Where is the parent come from? See, on the account, there is a field by name parent. You are trying to go from contact to account, and on the account there is a field by name parent, and on the parent, if you see here, okay, let me go to account. From contact I'm going to account, and on the account there is a field by name parent account parent, which is more like a self lookup. So from this parent, what you're trying to do is, parent is again a self lookup. So from the parent again you're trying to look for something called as, what is it? You're looking at Warner. So again Warner is one more field. Warner might not be shown to you over here, or maybe it can be shown as well. Warner is there. This is a lookup to user, and from the user object you are looking for the first name field. So it is more like from contact you are going to account. From account you are again going to account, because account is having a self lookup. You are again going to account. From account you are going to user, and then from user you are fetching a field. Did that answer your question? Select contact.account.parent.dnb company.call to from contact limit 5. If there is a field by name DNB company, is there a field by name DNB company? Yes, we have. Correct. Dot call to. If call to is a field present, then yes, it will work. If I'm not really sure about DNB company, but if call to, there is a field by name call to, then it will work for you. This is the Trailhead, which speaks about all the asynchronous things. So I'm just putting it over here, where I can learn OOPS concept, which helped me on SFDC development. Ankit, I think the link was shared in the Telegram group. Maybe that can be reshared again. I currently do not have it handy with me, but maybe can someone share the playlist link here? If you are writing any Apex class or LWC, then for also we have to write test class. Yes, anything on Apex demands a test class. Anything on Apex. Can we use abstract? See, it's again OOPS, right? So Apex is something which is into OOPS. So anything that we have available as OOPS will be available in Apex as well. So we can query more than 50k records using query locator. Yes, you can. Which is the industrially most used async to implement async Apex? See, it depends purely on your requirement. If you're dealing with huge set of records, obviously batch class you can go for. If you're dealing with a scenario where something should happen at a specific point of time, schedule Apex is the go-to place for you. But when you already have something in place, and if you want to get that executed asynchronously, then you will be under a dilemma to choose whether future or cable. If you feel that chaining is needed for you, or if you have to pass something non-primitive, then go for cable. Or if you feel that the scenario is this method is written in a very more generic way, I want this method to be present in this class only, I do not want to change the method name, or I do not want to change anything, then just annotate it at the rate future. So there is no such dilemma on choosing which one has to be picked up here, because everything is having its own significance, and based on the scenario you are dealing with, you have to take a call. So can you find text in the pick list type? Can you find text in the pick list type? Text in the pick list type. Are you speaking about SOQL, Abhi? For interview related, how type of question asked for Apex? Okay, let me tell you, most of the people are still under the same opinion that if there is an interview material for me, I can just go through it and try to crack the interview. That is, let me tell you, because you are entering into the Salesforce ecosystem, that is a very bad practice. No interviewer in the world is having the right to ask you any question which is not present in your resume. If you say asynchronous apex in your resume, then questions on asynchronous apex will be coming up. If you say apex trigger, only then questions on apex trigger will come up. And it is no wrong to admit the fact that if there is an area that you have never worked on, just say it straight away. So based on what concepts you are trying to put in your apex, questions will come on that specific area. And let me also tell you, questions vary from interviewer to interviewer. If at all you prepare 10 set of questions and if the interviewer did not ask you any question among them, do you have the right to tell that I read these 10 questions, why did you not ask any question in this 10? No, right? So do not go for interview questions, materials and all. Learn the concepts. If you are good in the concept, then no matter what kind of question come, you will be in a stage to give your interview. Then any session on integration Apex classes, Anand should confirm that. But with Apex, this is the end for my sessions. This is the last one.
Yeah, we are
Start.
planning to
Yes,
do
yes.
it, but it will be after the LWC and R.
Start method is executed synchronously. See, entire batch apex is getting executed asynchronously. So there is no such thing as, and in start method, you're not putting any logic. You're just writing one query. That's it. You're just having, the logic of splitting the data into chunks, and you're not even doing it. So the only thing that you're doing in start method is to put the data all together. That's it. Apart from that, you're not doing anything in the start method.
I have one question regarding that database dot insert and update related things.
Okay.
The question is like, for example, if we have, if we have a 400 set of records,
Okay.
in the using the batch apex, if I using the batch apex, I have inserted the first 200 records successfully.
Okay.
In next transaction, if I try to insert that 200 records, but unfortunately, for example, in the 380th record, I got a error.
Okay.
So
Okay.
how can you tell that? How can we know that we got an error in some record, and after processing that record, how do we insert that record again to that database?
Okay. So first thing, you're having 400 records and yes, it went in the chunks wise. So first batch processed 200 records successfully, and for the second batch processing, tell me, have you used insert or have you used database.insert? My point is, what is the DML statement that you're making use of in the execute method? Is it insert or database.insert?
Database.insert.
Okay, so you're using database.insert and you're telling that 380th record got failed, correct? Rest all are successful. Is that correct understanding?
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
Now, when you are using database.insert,
how do we get that? How do we know that some particular record got failed, and how do we insert again in the database?
Okay, so when you are making use of database, you need to understand that database is a class, and in this class, there are many other operations for us. One such operation is save result. In this specific database.save result, it will store result of each and every record. If you make use of database.save result, it will store result of each and every record. And if at all a record result is fail, then you can capture only that specific record. By using database.save result, you can get it done. But let me tell you, database.save result is available only when you use database.insert or update or offset. If you see, this is the process. There is the logic written for you. If you see, this is how they're trying to do. They're trying to insert accounts and then they're trying to iterate. Then they're checking if it is success or failure. If it is failure, okay, then what is the failure? So this is how you will be able to make use of, database class to understand which record has failed for what reason.
Okay. After that, how do we insert the record again?
No, wait. First, you have to look into the error. Blindly inserting that record is completely wrong because let's assume that the record is failing because you missed a mandatory field value. Now you are trying to just do the reinsertion. Again, it will fail. It will do the reinsertion. Again, it will fail. So you are entering into an infinite loop. So ideal approach is, if at all such records are failing, capture them in some new custom object. Many people will have error handling framework in some new objects. They will be having error log or exception log. Any such objects will be there. In those objects, try to show details of this specific record and then go into that record and try to see by correcting the data. That is the process. You can do it, you can just perform the reoperation again, but still that will give you an error. So that is not at all considered a good practice. Capture those details, store it somewhere. Once the entire execution is done, then go into those error log object and see why it has been failed and try to see if you can correct the data and get it done. That is the ideal approach.
Okay, got it. Thanks, sir.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Once again, thank you, Adityan, for your time.
Okay, then, yep. Thank you all. Thank you for being so patient all these days. Thank you, and wishing you all happy coding and all the very best for your future.
Thank you, sir.
You.